You're sitting in the exam hall. You put in the hours, you skipped the weekend plans. But the second you read question 1, your brain just flatlines. You are completely paralyzed. We've all seen the student who practically lives in the library, downing energy drinks and putting in 10-hour shifts, yet they somehow score lower than the kid who studies a fraction of the time. This gap between effort and results is the first sign that something is wrong with the process. Academic failure is often the result of invisible cognitive traps rather than a lack of intelligence or natural ability. These traps are dangerous because they feel like hard work. This fake productivity creates the sensation of learning without actually transferring data into long-term memory. Spending 8 hours at a desk and actually absorbing information are two different biological states. Confusing the two makes academic struggle inevitable. The breakdown begins during the initiation phase. You delay the start by waiting for peak motivation or the perfect day to begin, assuming that learning requires a specific emotional state. Relying on emotional readiness is a flaw in strategy. Discipline must precede action because the motivation to study complex, taxing topics rarely appears on its own. Once you finally sit down, your brain looks for the path of least resistance. You replace the difficult task of learning with the easy task of organizing, such as spending hours color-coding notes and perfecting headers. This chart shows what happens during those aesthetic sessions. Perceived effort stays high because you're busy, but actual cognitive load flatlines near zero. These tasks provide an accomplishment dopamine hit without actual understanding. This setup phase breaks the learning process by replacing uncomfortable, necessary friction with the comfortable illusion of motion. During the execution phase, many students rely on passive intake. They watch videos at high speeds, reread the same textbook pages, hoping it sticks through exposure alone. This creates what researchers call the fluency illusion. Because your eyes recognize the words on the page, the brain assumes it has achieved mastery over the underlying concept. Without active self-testing, the brain is incapable of retrieving that information when the book is closed. Recognition is not the same as recall. This inefficiency is compounded by the comparison spiral. Seeing a peer study longer or score higher causes an immediate shift in focus away from the material. That external comparison redirects mental energy away from comprehension and into a state of generalized panic and self-doubt. Consuming information without testing it, while simultaneously worrying about others' progress, ensures the data remains in fragile short-term memory. The physical consequence of this flawed study approach is the burnout cycle. One 8-hour binge session is inevitably followed by days of exhaustion and guilt. This cycle is a failure of pacing that physically overloads the brain's processing capacity, regardless of how hard the student feels they are working. The final trap is the assumption that because a concept made sense during a lecture, it is permanently stored in the brain. This graph plots memory retention over time. Following a single session, there's a steep, rapid drop-off. The brain discards new information that isn't repeatedly recalled. Consistent, spaced-out revision forces retrieval, halting this decay. Each retrieval makes the memory more durable. Inconsistent binging and a lack of revision turn every exam into a frantic attempt to learn the material entirely from scratch. High-scoring students do not necessarily possess higher intelligence or study longer hours than their peers. Instead, top performers prioritize systems over feelings. They avoid time-wasting traps by following a structured approach to learning. This involves trading passive reading for high-friction active recall and replacing motivation-based binges with disciplined, consistent microsessions. Awareness of these architectural flaws is the first step toward fixing them. Isolate one mistake from this list and eliminate it during your next study session. Academic success is the result of the systematic elimination of fake productivity. Sustained results come from the quality of the process, not the volume of the hours.